The WWE Universe just witnessed something that nobody saw coming, and trust me when I say this changes absolutely everything we thought we knew about the current landscape of professional wrestling. What happened backstage has sent shockwaves through every locker room and every arena across the globe, because the person who just took out Jacob Fatu is someone we never expected to see return in this fashion. Before we dive into this explosive revelation, make sure you hit that subscribe button right now, because you do not want to miss any updates on this developing story. Jacob Fatu has been absolutely unstoppable since joining the main roster and becoming a dominant force in WWE. The Samoan werewolf has carved through competition like a hot knife through butter and established himself as one of the most feared competitors in the entire company. His presence alongside the Bloodline has made the faction even more dangerous than before, and every single superstar has had to acknowledge his power and dominance. Fatu's combination of agility, speed and raw power has made him a nearly impossible puzzle for anyone to solve, and his victims have been left in his wake wondering what hit them. The man moves like someone half his size yet hits with the force of a freight train, and that deadly combination has made him one of the most talked about performers in all of wrestling today. Nobody expected Jacob Fatu to be vulnerable to anyone, and certainly nobody expected him to be taken out backstage in such a dramatic fashion. The way this went down has everyone talking because it was calculated, it was precise, and it sent a message that resonated throughout the entire WWE roster. When someone takes out Jacob Fatu, you know they mean business, and you know they are not playing games with anyone. This was not some random attack or some opportunistic moment where someone caught him off guard. This was planned, this was executed perfectly, and this was done by someone who knew exactly what they were doing and exactly what statement they wanted to make to the entire wrestling world. The speculation immediately turned to Drew McIntyre because of his ongoing issues with the Bloodline and his history of wanting to prove himself as the top guy in WWE. Drew has been vocal about his frustrations and his desire to dismantle anyone who stands in his way of championship glory. The Scottish Warrior has the size, the strength and the motivation to take down someone like Jacob Fatu, and everyone assumed he would be the one to strike. Drew has been circling the Bloodline like a shark, waiting for the perfect moment to attack, and many believed this was his opportunity to make a major statement. His intensity and his focus have been at an all-time high, and taking out Fatu would have fit perfectly into his current storyline and his trajectory toward the top of the mountain. But here is where everything gets turned completely upside down, because it was not Drew McIntyre who took out Jacob Fatu. The person responsible for this attack is someone who has been absent from WWE television for quite some time, and their return has implications that reach far beyond just one backstage assault. This returning superstar has history with multiple members of the roster, and their presence immediately shifts the power dynamics of several ongoing storylines. When you think about who would have the motivation, the ability and the courage to go after someone as dangerous as Jacob Fatu, the list becomes very short very quickly. This person clearly had a plan, and they executed it with precision that shows they have not lost a single step despite their time away from the ring. The returning superstar who attacked Jacob Fatu backstage is none other than a former world champion who has unfinished business with the Bloodline and a score to settle that dates back several months. This individual was taken out of action through circumstances that were controversial and left fans demanding answers and demanding justice. Their absence created a void in the main event scene, and their return fills that void with explosive potential for incredible matches and unforgettable moments. The timing of this return could not be more perfect, because the Bloodline is at the height of their power and they need a legitimate threat to challenge their dominance and shake up the entire dynamic of the faction. What makes this return even more significant is the history between this superstar and several members of the Bloodline. There are layers to this story that go back years and involve betrayals, alliances and broken trust that has never been properly addressed. The wounds from those past events have never healed, and this attack on Jacob Fatu is just the opening salvo in what promises to be an all-out war. This returning competitor knows the Bloodline inside and out, and they know the weak points and the pressure points that can be exploited. They understand the family dynamics and the loyalty structures, and they know exactly how to tear everything apart from the inside out if given the opportunity. Jacob Fatu being taken out sends a message that nobody in the Bloodline is safe and nobody is untouchable. If the newest and most dangerous member of the faction can be neutralized, then what does that say about the vulnerability of the entire group? This attack plants seeds of doubt and creates cracks in the foundation that can be widened and exploited moving forward. The psychological warfare has already begun, and the Bloodline now has to deal with an enemy who is not afraid of them and who has already proven they can strike when least expected. This changes the entire calculus of how the Bloodline operates, because they now have to watch their backs and protect themselves from threats they may not see coming. The WWE Universe has been waiting for someone to step up and truly challenge the Bloodline in a meaningful way, and this returning superstar appears to be exactly what everyone has been hoping for. This is not someone who will back down or show fear in the face of intimidation. This is a proven main event talent who has held championships and headlined major events, and who commands respect from everyone in the locker room. Their return brings instant credibility to any storyline they are involved in, and their presence elevates everyone around them. The matches that can now be created with this person back in the fold are endless, and the possibilities for incredible television are off the charts exciting. The attack itself was brutal and efficient, and it left Jacob Fatu unable to compete in his scheduled match, which throws a wrench into whatever plans the Bloodline had for that evening. The medical staff had to attend to Fatu immediately, and the severity of the attack was evident in how long it took for him to be cleared to leave the area. This was not a simple ambush that left him stunned for a few minutes. This was a calculated assault designed to take him out of action for an extended period and send a message that could not be ignored or brushed aside. The returning superstar wanted everyone to know they are back and they are coming for blood, and nothing is going to stop them from getting their revenge. The backstage area erupted in chaos after the attack as WWE officials, security personnel and other superstars rushed to the scene to assess the situation. The confusion and shock on everyone's faces told the story of how unexpected this moment truly was. Even the most seasoned veterans and the most plugged-in members of the roster had no idea this return was happening. WWE kept this secret locked down tighter than anything in recent memory, and the surprise factor added to the impact of the moment. The element of surprise is a powerful weapon in professional wrestling, and this returning superstar used it to perfection to announce their presence in the most dramatic way possible. The immediate aftermath of this attack has the Bloodline scrambling to figure out their next move and how they respond to this threat. Do they seek immediate revenge and hunt down this returning superstar, or do they take time to regroup and come up with a strategic plan to eliminate this problem? The decision they make in the coming days will define how this storyline unfolds and will determine whether they can maintain their position at the top of WWE. The pressure is now on them to show strength and unity in the face of adversity and to prove that one returning superstar cannot dismantle everything they have built over the past several years. Roman Reigns and the rest of the Bloodline leadership now have a major problem on their hands because this returning superstar represents a legitimate threat that cannot be ignored or dismissed. This is not some mid-card talent looking to make a name for themselves. This is an established main event player who has proven they can hang with the best and who has the skills and the determination to cause serious damage. The Bloodline cannot afford to underestimate this opponent or take them lightly, because doing so would be a fatal mistake. They need to address this situation head-on, and they need to do it quickly before things spiral further out of control. The WWE creative team now has an incredible opportunity to build something special with this returning superstar and their feud with the Bloodline. The foundation is already there with the history and the animosity that exists between the parties. All they need to do is allow the story to unfold naturally and give these performers the time and the platform to showcase their talents. The matches that can be produced from this rivalry have the potential to be among the best of the year and could headline major premium live events. This is the kind of storyline that creates long-term interest and keeps fans engaged week after week, because they need to know what happens next. What makes this situation even more intriguing is how it affects the other ongoing storylines and feuds within WWE. The ripple effects of this return and this attack will be felt across multiple divisions and multiple programs. Superstars who were previously focused on their own rivalries now have to consider how this returning competitor factors into their plans and their futures. Alliances may be formed and broken as people choose sides and decide where their loyalties lie. The entire landscape of WWE television is about to shift in major ways, and the next few months promise to deliver some of the most compelling content we have seen in quite some time. The fans have responded to this return with overwhelming excitement and enthusiasm because they recognize the potential for greatness that comes with having this superstar back on the roster. Social media exploded immediately after the attack, with reactions ranging from shock to joy to anticipation for what comes next. The trending topics and the engagement numbers show that WWE hit a home run with this surprise and that the audience is fully invested in seeing how this story plays out. In an era where it is increasingly difficult to surprise fans and keep secrets, this moment stands out as a reminder of how powerful and impactful professional wrestling can be when done correctly. The medical update on Jacob Fatu following the attack indicates that while he suffered significant damage, he is expected to make a full recovery and return to action. However, the timeline for his return remains uncertain, and the Bloodline will have to function without one of their most dominant members for the foreseeable future. This creates an opportunity for other members of the faction to step up and prove their worth, but it also exposes potential weaknesses that can be exploited by their enemies. The absence of Jacob Fatu removes a major weapon from the Bloodline arsenal and forces them to adjust their strategy and their approach to dealing with threats. The returning superstar has made it crystal clear through their actions that they are not interested in talking or negotiating or finding peaceful resolutions. They came back to fight, and they came back to destroy, and they are willing to do whatever it takes to achieve their goals. This mindset makes them incredibly dangerous because there are no limits to what they might do and no lines they are unwilling to cross. The Bloodline has built their empire through intimidation and violence, but now they are facing someone who is willing to match that intensity and raise the stakes even higher. This collision course between an unstoppable force and an immovable object promises to deliver fireworks that will light up WWE programming for months to come. Looking at the bigger picture, this return and this attack represent a turning point for WWE storytelling and the direction of the main event scene. The company has invested heavily in the Bloodline and their dominance, but every great story needs a worthy adversary to create true drama and tension. This returning superstar fills that role perfectly and gives the audience someone to rally behind as they challenge the established order. The balance between heels and babyfaces becomes more interesting when both sides have legitimate claims to being the best and when both sides have the ability to win on any given night. This is how you create compelling television that keeps people tuning in week after week. The in-ring confrontations that are now possible with this superstar back in WWE are mouth-watering to consider. The styles and the personalities and the histories all blend together to create dream matches that fans have been wanting to see. Whether it is singles matches or multi-person contests or traditional tag team battles, the combinations are endless and each one brings something unique and exciting to the table. The chemistry that exists between this returning competitor and the members of the Bloodline has been proven in the past, and there is no reason to believe they cannot recapture that magic and perhaps even exceed it now that the stakes are higher and the emotions are more raw. The promo battles and the verbal exchanges that will take place between this returning superstar and the Bloodline should be absolutely must-see television. Both sides have elite-level talkers who can cut promos that resonate with audiences and build anticipation for their matches. The war of words will be just as intense as the physical battles, and the mind games will add another layer of depth to the rivalry. These are the moments that define careers and create clips that live forever in wrestling history. The ability to tell a story both in the ring and on the microphone is what separates the good from the great, and everyone involved in this feud has that ability in spades. The merchandise sales and the fan engagement that will come from this returning superstar being back in WWE represents a significant boost for the company. This is a proven draw who moves units and gets people talking and creates buzz in the mainstream media. The business side of wrestling is just as important as the creative side, and having talent who can deliver on both fronts is invaluable. WWE knows they have something special here and they need to capitalize on the momentum and the excitement while it is at its peak. The next few weeks are crucial for establishing this returning superstar as a top-level threat and for building the feud with the Bloodline into something that feels truly epic and important. As we move forward, the question becomes, how far will this returning superstar go to get their revenge, and what price is the Bloodline willing to pay to maintain their position at the top? The conflict is personal, it is intense, and it shows no signs of being resolved quickly or easily. Both sides have too much invested and too much pride to back down without a fight. The collision that is coming promises to be spectacular, and the fallout from that collision will reshape the entire WWE landscape. This is the kind of storyline that reminds us why we love professional wrestling in the first place. If you enjoyed this breakdown of the shocking return and the attack on Jacob Fatu, make sure you are subscribed to this channel so you never miss an update on this developing story and all the latest WWE